Hi, folks. Welcome to Life with LNL. I'm Lee.
I'm Lynsey.
Well, here we are today. Oh, better get my notes. Here we are today, and what we'll say, we're talking about the mind.
Yeah, we are. We're talking about the mind.
So we've been on the mind for quite a bit of time, Lindsay, haven't we?
Yeah.
It's been even talking about it on Sunday. We were together just chewing the fat, basically.
It's been taking off on us for a
Big
wee
time.
while, hasn't it? It's been taking
Uh-huh.
off for quite some time now.
You were way off doing
my training
your
and then,
training
yeah.
course.
And you were here, and both of us got
Both of us are getting the same thing at the same time.
So
It was amazing when we came
yeah.
together. It was like, right, okay.
Okay, this is obviously what the Lord wants us to chat about.
And many people know it's important when the God gives you something, you don't just try and skip on the next thing. You dwell on it for a while and just
And
camp
that's
out
the
on
easiest
it.
thing to do. Sometimes when the Lord gives us something, we're like, yeah, we know that. Or yeah. And you think you've done your study on it. But actually, there's so much in this, isn't there, Lee?
Absolutely. You could spend the next couple of months on this here subject
And
alone.
the rest, it's
Absolutely.
like,
And when you hear this, I want you to hear this with New Year's, guys. So somebody says you've heard it before, but I want you to hear it with New Year's and keep your heart and minds open to just be able to receive for it.
Absolutely. And even for now, even just with us ourselves, we're even just starting it with New Year's and for ourselves.
Absolutely. It's important to, regardless of what it is, but we're talking about why. We're talking about even this earlier, why your mind thinks the way it thinks. And it may be that the environment, one of the things we said was the environment that you grew up in.
Absolutely. That's your environment is key. It's where, where
it doesn't matter where you grow up. We're living here in Northern Ireland. It doesn't matter. And it could be different parts of Northern Ireland or parts of Ireland.
All parts of the world.
All parts of the world.
Their own
Everybody has their own environment. And each environment or culture has their own way and process of thinking. You may have been indoctrinated into that and think that certain way because you grew in that certain place.
Yeah, and or maybe shaped you as a person.
Absolutely.
Of your environment.
This shapes your knowledge, doesn't it? It shapes the way, it tries to shape the way you think. So it's important that we do not allow that environment. Well, let's talk about it. It could be good or it could be bad.
Yeah.
And what do we discuss as bad? It may not necessarily be totally devastating, but if it's not lining up with what God says, or what He thinks about you, what He thinks about that other person, or the environment around, or not the environment, about the people around you or the place around you, it's important that lines up with what God says.
Absolutely, and I think as well the environment, as you say, it's not all bad. But there could be bits that has been bad and bits that you've picked, and there's a few bits it's not really lining up. So it is just I think more than anything being aware. It's not even, it's just being aware of what environment you've had, that you're able to allow God to move in it, and your experiences is massive because in your environment then comes the experiences.
Absolutely.
Whether it be trauma, whether it be who knows what's going on.
Yeah, as we rightly again, it could be good or it could be bad.
Like it could be, we have a good marriage. I was going to say, but we've got a good experience with marriage. Whereas you go across to people and they've maybe not had a good experience of marriage.
It may be a thing that people have consistently chose abusive relationships, and they just think, well, marriage isn't for me. It doesn't work because it's abusive, and that could. The children could see that and be marred by that as well in their mind and think,
I'm never going to get married.
Never going to marry because they made it's important that you don't make agreements in your mind that are not according to God's word.
Absolutely.
So it's really, really important that we, as we rightly said there at the start, the environment, making sure the environment, because that shapes our knowledge and our experiences that we've had as well. And we've rightly said that could be positive or it could be negative. And making sure that them experiences don't mar the way. And we talked about making sure about, for example, another example was going on holiday.
Yeah.
So many people have been to a place or destination, let's say, for example, Florida. Some people go to Florida every year and they have a great experience and they think it's the best place.
In Florida because he hasn't been to Florida.
I haven't. Not yet. I've been everywhere else, but not Florida. And but somebody may have said to me, Lee, Florida's the best place in the world. But I may have went along to that place, and it may be a case that, you know what, maybe my hotel was broken into, or something happened to me negatively. They give me a bad vibe or a bad experience whilst I was there. And then I view it through the lens of, oh no, Florida's the horriblest place.
Yeah.
But yet, in
and
reality,
you would never give it another chance because of your experience.
Yeah, but in reality, it's the best place or it could be one of the best places that you could go and experience.
Yeah.
So I believe it's important important that we don't allow them negative experiences or them experiences that aren't of
Shape
God
us,
to
yeah.
shape us in a way and shape our thinking into a way that would be out of character
Yeah,
of
because
God.
that's how then we get our belief system, isn't it? It's like what forms our belief systems and our belief patterns, and
Uh huh. And it's important that because out of them belief patterns, it shapes our actions, doesn't it?
yeah, absolutely. And it can be a whole thing whenever you think that people's belief system, if they've grew up in maybe a certain denomination or they've grew up in a certain, that creates then a belief system in them, and then it creates so
Absolutely.
they're maybe shut off to something else.
Yeah, you can almost become okay here. You can almost become a prisoner in your own mind
Absolutely.
because you think
You
you
don't
have
let
the
yourself
truth and
think.
you don't let yourself
Yeah.
have the whole truth. And there's many layers of truth. I always think the truth like is an onion.
Yeah.
There is many, many, many layers to it. It's God's revealed one part to you. That's making sure that you're open and receptive to what God is trying to speak to you, and you're not closed off to it.
Yeah.
You're thinking you have all,
What God has for you.
all what God has for you at
Yeah,
that time.
absolutely. I think that's
It's been
a massive.
teachable and moldable in His hands,
Yeah.
as according to His word.
Yeah, and that could be. I know for my own personal life, that's maybe been somebody coming alongside and saying, "Have you never seen it like this?" And then when you ever have that experience or something in
It's a
yourself,
light bulb
then
moment. It's like
yeah,
a
yeah,
slow light there, bulb.
yeah.
Where it's like
Oh,
okay,
right, I never seen that
never seen
before.
it
I
from
never,
that way before. And we
and
see
then
get
it
that in
becomes
every area, not just
yours.
biblical ways, but we
Yeah,
get that in all our areas of life.
yeah,
It's just that light bulb moment.
yeah, and then it becomes, it becomes yours. So it really is, and then that creates your values really, and what.
Absolutely, their beliefs, the values, your actions. It's definitely all shaped out of
Yeah,
them for what we think.
absolutely.
But according to the word, it says in Romans 12:2. I've got it here. I don't mind reading it out. It says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your
Yes, it's
mind."
so good, like.
So it says in here that what I've wrote down beside conformed is conformed to the same pattern. Look at the world today. We were discussing this as well. Look at the world today compared to 50 years ago.
Yeah,
Look how people think today.
absolutely.
Yes, things have moved on and technology and all that there, but there's definitely a different thinking process. The younger ones, even the younger ones that are coming up through now compared to us, and we're not even 50 yet, you know. We're not even
Well,
50
not
yet.
even anywhere near it, really.
But here we have a pattern of thought coming up through younger ones. I'm sure, like our grandparents think, "Oh my
The
goodness,
same,
look,
yeah,
and how you can see some values and some values have changed along the way through people
yeah,
because uh, that world, it
different,
says,
yeah,
do not be conformed to the same, that is conformed to the same pattern to this world." That's an eon of time.
yeah,
So there's how is it that we think now compared to a lot of years ago?
yeah.
So it's
I'm looking at
important.
even that scripture. That's like a warning. Don't be.
Don't be
So
absolutely.
there's a good like a chance that you are going to be conformed to this world. So the fact that it says don't be is like, okay, well, we may take heed here. Don't be
Absolutely.
conformed to this.
Yeah.
And it's so easy. You look at the media, like even the last even through coronavirus, whatever the media was saying, pumping out fear, 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 anxiety. Everybody was feeling it, no matter where you were in the world. The world was affected by what was happening, and the news and the media and all of that adds a massive, massive fear factor in there. So, if this was 100 years ago, there wouldn't have been as much fear and anxiety because as much of the world didn't really know about what was happening. Just so happens for us, that media was portraying so much at that time that only that you knew God,
Yeah.
that you're able to see life and to be able to speak life over in that situation.
Absolutely.
But I mean, it just shows you how in this day and age, how the likes of the media is, massive, and even the younger ones, even their wee minds, any wonder why anxiety and fear play havoc at the minute in this world.
Absolutely. So in the second part, that says,
But
be transformed. Be transformed. That word metamorphosis. And it's like that changing of caterpillar to a butterfly,
yeah,
isn't it? And it's important that we are totally transformed by the renewing, and that renewing is like a renovation. We talked about this, didn't we, as
yeah,
well, saying that and when a house is renovated, it's totally gutted out.
Absolutely.
Absolutely gutted out. Or it may be just a gutting out of a particular thought process that you've had about yourself, about someone else, or a place, or whatever it may be at that time, and
Yeah.
just making sure that you're totally renewed in that area of your mind.
Brilliant.
Isn't that right?
It's brilliant. Yeah, it's really, really good. So it means that you can be renewed in your mind.
Absolutely.
It's
Oh,
actually
it's
not
absolutely fine. It's
yeah.
not,
It's
and
not some far off like mystical. It is a thing that you
absolutely.
transformed in
Well,
your
you were
mind.
reading the Caroline Leaf book, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah. The Dr.
And
Karen.
for those who don't know Caroline Leaf, she was a neuroscientist and is talks.
She
What
talks
was
massively on rechanging your thoughts. It's called Rewire Your Brain.
yeah,
So it's really good on different areas of your mind where you would
showing
replace.
you through science how your mind
Yeah,
can be
absolutely.
rewired, so to
Yeah,
speak.
yeah.
So it's really, really
So
important.
there is a rewiring that you can have.
Absolutely. So if you think out there, no, how can you ever do that? It
Yeah.
is possible.
Yeah,
It is
absolutely.
possible. We're going to show you how that's done according to the word anyway.
Yeah, practical.
In
Well,
part
maybe
two.
part two. We'll maybe do that on. But I think it's the choices. It's choosing what we're going to allow into our mind and what we're not going to allow into our mind, and it's just being we all have choices to make. We all have minds,
Yeah.
and so therefore we have the choice to allow something to come in, and are we going to play with it, toy with it, or are we just going to send it out?
Yeah.
So I think that is key. What are we letting into our minds? What are we waking up with in the mornings? What are we speaking over ourselves? What are we allowing to be spoke over us that are allowing to grow in our minds and our thoughts?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know?
And I'm sure people are sitting thinking of different examples.
Yeah, school teachers, you massive, people that played with you in the playground, all of those things that you see in life that have maybe spoke over you, they come back into your mind every so often. You just go down and you think of maybe things that have been spoke over you. It's important to not dwell on them, and there are a lot of things that I
Absolutely.
think a lot of people carry about with them in their wee backpack,
Uh-huh.
and they're allowed to, but they do not define you, and they are not who God says that you are. So it's important to get the word on
Making
what is
sure
spoke
you
over you,
know what
who
God
you are,
speaks
your
over you.
identity, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. And I think once you're rooted and grounded in who you are, it's able to you're able to function from that place. But that's not to say that you won't have thoughts that try and bombard you or come across you.
Absolutely.
But this here second part of the Romans 12:2, it says, then you will be able to test. So the reason why you're going to renew your mind, then you'll be able to test and improve what is the good, pleasing, and perfect will of God.
Yeah.
So how many people want to please God and do His perfect will?
Yeah.
You're going to have to renew your mind in some areas.
Yeah.
You're going to have to transform your mind
Yeah.
and renew that. Just renovate it and get rid of all them that dirty stinking thinking as we talk about.
Absolutely. And we're a three-part being.
Mm-hmm.
So we are
Mind, body,
and spirit. Yeah, we are. We live a lot of the times in our mind.
Yeah.
Really, don't we?
That's true. That's true.
That's our
Matt,
soul.
you were saying about
Your mind, will, and emotion is your soul realm, and it's a big part of of what you are in. So it's important that
gets renewed.
absolutely.
So we says that what is the perfect will of God? And what it said about we were talking about this on Sunday again, and it was saying that thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That was part of the prayer that Jesus was teaching the disciples as how pray, and that is it was Bill
That's who we
Johnson.
are,
In fact, that brought that to light. It was like, nice one, Bill.
Like Bill's always about the nice one. He does some brilliant ones, doesn't
Some
he?
good one-liners in there. So if you want to know what the perfect will of God is, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So it's important that we take our seats as sons of God to be able to be seated and look from that perspective. Paul in Colossians 3:2 says that we look the things above and not the things on the earth. So it's important we constantly have that heavenly perspective, isn't it, Lance?
Yeah, absolutely. And setting our mind is a choice to set our mind on those things above. We must take a conscious effort to do that.
Absolutely. So in summary, for part one, we have environment.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Our environment tries to shape us.
Yeah,
these are things just to be aware of, isn't that right?
Yeah.
So it's just
our
the
environment, experience.
Yeah, our knowledge,
beliefs.
It shapes our beliefs. What beliefs do we have?
Yeah.
Why do we have them the way we have them? So sometimes just
Absolutely.
asking questions, and that shapes our. You said that was
Values,
shaping our
yeah.
values
And then
and our
our
actions
choices, yeah.
and our choices. So it's important that we become aware of that.
Yeah. So that's just they're just practical things that whenever we're in our environments, and it's good to sit back from your environment and actually be honest with yourself and say, what in my environment is shaping me, and is it of good or
Is it of God?
is it yeah? Because it could be good and not God,
That's right.
And I think a lot of the times that we don't even think of our environment. We don't even that doesn't even come into our equations. Or why do we think? Why we think? Why do I believe that? That's so key. And we're God and ask God what does He think about you? Even in your quiet time, so good to see what God, to have God. What do you think about me, God? In your quiet
Absolutely.
time, because the Bible is full of what He is saying
What he
over
thinks
you
about you,
and what He
absolutely.
thinks about you.
That's so important.
So it's in the Word, and it's important that we, even if we do daily affirmations over ourselves, to think, oh, hey, God thinks over us.
Yeah, and just make sure that, I mean, that's what we're going to talk about in part 2.
Yeah.
Is just how to
Yeah.
rewire that mind, isn't
Yeah.
that
So
right?
so I hope you
Or what
enjoy.
to do when you have that stinking thinking. So,
Hope you've enjoyed this wee chat
absolutely,
today.
yeah.
And on our next wee chat, we'll talk about
How
the mind again.
that's right. I say we did say
And maybe
you
chills.
camp out in this all the
Yeah.
day long, but look at the word up for yourself. Get into Romans 12. Look at verse 2. Look it up in the Greek for yourselves,
Yeah.
and just really get in to see what it says. It's
and look
amazing.
at it. It's good to try different translations, because I think that it's good to get an overall. It's maybe
Absolutely.
not the only. It's maybe not the only translation that you maybe use your own one that you love, whatever that may be. But it's good to see it other, because then it gives you another viewpoint and another get more revelation on it.
Absolutely.
But it's been great to chat with you today, and we look forward to getting back with you soon next week.
Ciao for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's us today, guys, on Life with L&L. We are so thankful that you were listening, and we hope you have a great week.